I'm your host, Kevin Myers. Welcome back to 24/7 News Show. It is November 7th, 2020, and we've finally reached the end of a tumultuous election cycle filled with lies, misinformation, the COVID-19 pandemic, and hatred. The American people have made their decision, and in my opinion, they have thankfully made the right one. The Americans have chosen to put an end to the lies, the conspiracy theories, the hatred, the racism, and the division, and elect a president who by no means is perfect, who's not going to solve all our problems, but can make things a lot better than they are right now. That being Joe Biden, the 46th president of the United States. Perhaps even more historic and significant for the United States is we have elected the first female vice president in United States history in Kamala Harris. She'll be the first woman to hold that office. She'll be the first African American to hold that office. She'll be the first woman to be in the White House as president or vice president. She'll be the first Asian American in either of those roles as well. This is truly a historic day, and that is something that every person, no matter what side of this election you're on, you should be able to acknowledge, is that you should be able to feel a sense of pride that this country took a major step forward today. And that's a big deal. But aside from that, I would first like to address the Trump supporters and their side of what's going on right now. Honestly, as someone who was a Hillary Clinton supporter during the 2016 election, I understand exactly how you feel. This was every bit as much of a divisive, I would argue even more divisive election than the previous cycle. And while I do not, and will never understand how you could possibly support Donald Trump, I can easily understand how you're feeling right now. It's not a hard jump to make. Please take time to accept the results. It's not an easy thing to do, as I can tell you. I was able to take solace in the fact that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote 4 years ago. That doesn't exist so much this time, but take the time you need to come to terms with the results of this election cycle. Distract yourself from the news, take a break, do whatever it is you need to do to be at peace with this. However, as an American, as someone who has the privilege of living in this great democracy, you also have an obligation to recognize that this was a free and fair election. You have an obligation to recognize that Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. There is no evidence of widespread voter fraud, as numerous outlets have outlined. In fact, I spent most of this election cycle glued to CNN, but I'm sure many other outlets did similar things. CNN had a correspondent in all of the major ballot counting centers in the country, in the swing states, I should say, tracking these results, tracking everything that's come through, literally getting the votes by the minute. It was honestly truly impressive from a journalistic standpoint to watch a correspondent get the numbers in real time. Someone comes up, speaks at a podium who represents the ballot counting center, give them the numbers of the votes for each person and the total, and then you watch that live on the news. There was an incredible amount of transparency. That's really the point I'm trying to get to here. Is there was an incredible amount of transparency provided to this process. As far as all the conspiracy theories spreading around right now, there's just absolutely no weight, no evidence to them. And usually this stuff is just able to fester online, and conservatives keep spreading it because there's no real consequences. This time it is different. This time there are court challenges that the Trump campaign is going to attempt to make. The only problem is, unlike the court of public opinion, the court of law requires actual evidence. You can't just say something, cut a video down out of context, and present it before a court. You need to show the entire video. And besides that, you need to prove more than just a video, and you need more than anecdotal evidence. Someone can't just call up the Trump campaign on a phone and be like, hey, I saw someone vote twice. You need to prove it. So it is incredibly irresponsible, as the president did, to sow misinformation, to spread lies about this process. And honestly, it just makes you a sore loser at this point. Again, take all the time you need to accept this process. It's never easy to accept a loss this big, like with the presidential election. But don't spread lies, don't spread hate, don't be a sore loser. There's enough bad divisiveness going on in this country already. And all you would be doing is saying, I want this country to stay divided. Because ultimately that's what we're dealing with. There is someone who is now the president-elect, who's been campaigning on the fact that he'll represent all Americans, not just the people who voted for him, and who's continued to say that as it looked like it was clear for him to be reelected, and I'm sure we'll repeat it again tonight at his press conference, where he's going to accept the results of the election, something that Trump is not going to do. But ultimately, again, it's been a rough election cycle. It has. But we are still the United States of America, and democracy is still one of our founding principles. And, you need to have evidence if you're going to try and challenge that. If you're going to try and challenge our democracy. Finally, I would like to make another announcement. The final episode of the 24/7 News Show will air on December 31st, 2020. That is because this show initially was a way for me to experiment with a broadcast news format covering technology. Then I got moved more towards politics and political opinion, which is what we're doing right now. However, political opinion isn't something I want to be doing forever. And this show has allowed me to process a lot of just some of the bad things that have been going on in our country for the last 4 years. The attacks from the Trump administration on basic civil rights for African Americans, for immigrants, for transgender individuals, for gay individuals. And just watching progress slip away has been rough, and this show's allowed me to process that, sort of vent a little bit. But now that Joe Biden has been elected, it's not really something I need anymore, because I can take solace in the fact that he'll be gone in a couple months. That Trump will be gone in a couple months. So, and aside from we won the election, I don't want to do opinion for the rest of my life. I want to pursue a career in broadcast journalism, and this show is honestly something that's going to be a hindrance to that. So at the end of this year, we will be ending the 24/7 News Show, at least in its current capacity as an opinion program, as I want to start off fresh when I go off to college with objective news coverage, because opinion is fun and easy to do, and a lot easier to do than journalism, especially when you don't have a newsroom behind you like some of the opinion hosts that different networks have. Ultimately, this is just you can't produce opinion while you're a journalist at the same time. And I would like to be a journalist. I would like to be objective. And there is definitely a possibility that sometime down the line, some hyper-conservative outlet, because I doubt that's going away anytime soon, finds these videos when I'm working at some big news network, and tries to use it to discredit me. But ultimately, the most important thing is the truth. On this show, I've called out Democrats, specifically around the coronavirus crisis, for misinformation. The thing that frustrates me more than anything is lies. That's something the Trump presidency and the 2016 campaign taught me, is that you can believe whatever you want, but you better have facts to back it up. And I would like to pursue a career in making sure that facts are at the forefront of my work. So that is why I will be ending the 24/7 News Show at the end of the year. We will be producing a few more episodes before then, because, of course, Trump will be doing stupid things as we go through this lame duck period. But that is it for this episode of 24/7 News Show. Like, dislike, comment below. Thanks for watching.